Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and here we are again, continuing to work on Farmhouse. It's so far been a very wet, rainy day here in San Diego, and then we've got a break and the sun's coming in the window here for a nice change. So I'm just having my coffee, getting rolling this mid-morning. So page 8 is going to be just like page 1. As you know, I like to do 4 unique designs and then repeat them in the book. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. So page 1 and page 8 are the same. And this is a pretty straightforward page. We've got a waterfall feature. There's 4 of those, and then we've got these large flaps. So this is page 8, so I have to think about where my spine is. So on page 8, my spine is going to be on this side. So I want my large flaps to the right, which is the opposite of what page 1 was. Page 1 had the large flaps to the left. So we'll do a mirror image, put them on the right, and then we'll have our waterfall feature here on the left-hand side. So if you recall from page 1, we have a decorative strip that's going to separate these 2 features. And I do that for a couple of reasons. One, just to make a distinction between the 2 operating features, but also to make sure that this hinge and these waterfalls are not butting into each other and getting hung up in each other when you try to deploy any of the features. So there'll be a 1/2 inch decorative strip, which I haven't got ready yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and lay down the large flaps, and then take a quick pause, get a 1/2 inch strip and lay it down in here. So for now, I think we're ready to go at least with the large flaps. And the large flaps are 6 by 8, 6 inches across the top, 8 inches down the side. You're going to score it a 1/2 inch. So you're going to have a finished 5.5 by 8 panel. And I'm going to dry fit it real quick. And it looks good, so I'm ready to lay it down. Make sure, I mean, it's not square, so it's pretty hard to mess this up, but make sure your pockets are to the left and right. And here we go. So I'm going to try to crank this one out for you guys. I know everybody's waiting for more content because they're housebound and there's not a whole lot to do. How many news reports of the virus can you watch, right? Okay, so like I did in the first one, I like to put the outside one in first. Then I'm going to open it up and I am going to rest this hinge right on that flap, just like so. Just let it rest right there. We're going to take the stripping off. We're going to close and press it into place. Okay, of course I'm going to do it straight, but that's roughly what we're going to do. So the next step is for me to clean up my space a little bit, and I'm going to turn it. I'm going to go ahead and one more thing. I'm going to make sure that the 2 flaps are the same width before I take the tape backing off, and they are. I'm going to take the backing off, and again, it's still resting on that flap. I'm going to straighten it side to side, and then I'm going to close it over on itself and let this adhesive just find its own spot. So this is what I found to be the most effective in terms of trying to locate the flap and have it be as close as possible. The other thing is just make the inside flap a 1/2 inch shorter, and then you don't have to worry about it getting hung up on itself. I'm just making sure that it's running even also with the side of the pocket page. Laying it down and we're good. Okay, now as I did in page 1, I'm actually going to reverse the closure and have it close with the flap away from the spine. So remember, this is our spine side, so it's going to close like so. And I'm going to go ahead and put my magnets in place, and I'm going to go get my decorative strip, and then we'll lay in the waterfall. So I'm doing it in a slightly different order. But for the most part, if you're watching the videos, if you build page 1 before you decorate, you can go ahead and replicate page 1 in a mirror for page 8 instead of coming across to page 8. But you still want to watch page 8 to see what I do with the designer paper. Oops, backwards. There we go. Oh, you know what? I did that wrong. So I mentioned this in page 1. I want to move my magnet off center because I think I'm going to do some color blocking. So I'm going to lift this back up before I burnish it in place. because it's very likely that I'll do some color blocking, and in which case I don't want my magnet running right through the middle of the page, which I had placed it right in the middle. So let me find my middle spot. Here's my middle. I couldn't have been more in the middle. I think that's just a habit, right? So I'm going to come up at least an inch off the middle, place my magnet, and then find the mate. There we go. And close it on itself. There we go. And that gives me plenty of room to work with putting color blocking here if I split it in half. Okay, now I'm going to pause for a second, go find some designer paper and cut a strip, and I'll be right back. Okay, I decided to use the chicken wire, which is pretty much what I did on page 1. The rest of the design will be different, but I'm going to use the same divider strip here just because it's nice and neutral. So no matter what patterns I use, this chicken wire is going to work. There is also another option, which would have been these dots, which I really like, but it's hard for me to give up this pattern because there's just not enough of it. Okay, so that is done, and really all I'm doing is knocking off the white core. I don't distress too far into the pattern. I feel like their collections look antiqued enough already. Or distressed, I guess is the right word. But that's really a personal preference. But when you're laying it on black, it is super obvious if you have a white core. So that kind of bothers me. So you may want to do the same thing. And I'm using what's called powder puffs, and I can't recommend them highly enough. I really like it. If you are a mini album maker, give those a shot. They're just not near as messy as a traditional ink pad. They last well. The ink pad itself is spongy, which means the ink pad can operate as the applicator as well, because it's not hard like a traditional ink pad. So you can actually distress in just using this the sponge pad, because it doesn't leave a harsh mark like the traditional ones do. All right, so that's just a 1/2 inch strip, and that's just meant to separate these two features, one from the other. And I know these waterfall features are going to go slightly over it, and that's why I wanted to install it first. All right, now we're just looking. I gotta make sure I've got my right side, that's right side up. This is just gonna get it here to the top left corner, flush. So I'm gonna turn it over so I can see this corner. And I like to put down one corner, run it down the side of the paper, and so that I've got a pivot, basically. Okay. It's 3, and this is our 4th one. And then we're going to turn it upside down, and we're going to apply the 5th one to the bottom coming up, and that's what's going to hold the waterfall in place. And I don't, oh, I know why. I was going to say, I don't know why the cap is off the glue, but that's because I put that strip down. Okay, So same thing, I'm just lining it to the corner, I'm tacking down my corner, using it as a pivot point to install it. And there we go. Now we just need to add our magnets. There we go. So that is the end of page 8, and I'll go over it one more time. So we've got 2 large flaps. These flaps are 6 across the top, 8 inches down, score at 1/2 inch. These are, there's 5 of these. They're 4 by 6.5, 4 by 6.5, score 1/2 inch on the 6.5 inch side. 4 come down and 1 goes up, and that is it for page 8. Thanks everybody, I'll be back soon with more. Okay, I was just checking to make sure I've got it all inked and ready to go, and I do. And okay, let's go ahead and get this in. Get it attached. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use some white contrast sheet to get this where I want it. I'll turn it so I can see all the edges. It's a little too high. Okay, let's go. Okay, so here is the flap for page 1. I really like that. And then I chose this yellow to go on the waterfall features, which I'm going to put, yeah. So I'm going to turn it so that I can see the waterfall features a little bit more clearly, and I'm definitely going to use my contrast sheet in between so that I'm getting a nice beautiful margin for each one. Here's my pick tool. Sometimes I'll alternate the pattern. In this case I decided to use just all the same. And I'll probably do the same thing on the matching page, which is page 8. So there's a lot of cut aparts in this collection, and because I chose to do a large album in portrait, I'm not able to incorporate a lot of the cut aparts or the border cut aparts because they're horizontal. And for most purposes, my split between the 2 features on the page is vertical. So it didn't work out to be a very good opportunity. That's why I don't feel bad about cutting through and using the pattern on the back side of this. Normally I like to try to work in as many of those borders as I can. I just think they look nice as a way to sort of break things up. But because they're definitely horizontal and all my splits are vertical, it didn't work out so good. Yeah, I've got it inked. a wet one. I gotta get the glue off my hand so I'm not transferring it. Okay, that looks good. I always just double check and dry fit real quick. This is your last chance to try to retrim, or if it's too small, you got a chance to get another piece of paper cut. I just noticed that this is directional and I was laying it down not really paying attention, so I should have probably done that. There's little tiny hearts on it, so it does have a direction, so you may want to pay attention. Let's see what I did. Yep, that one's upside down. Oh well. It's pretty insignificant, but pay attention as you're laying yours down. That you get the orientation right. Okay, so that is the A side. So now we've got this flap that's going to hold everything in place, and I believe I'm going to use, and I'm going back and forth. I was thinking about using this, but I don't have to. I do have this left, so to cover the front, I could use that and then strategically place a smaller piece of ephemera. Ugh, I don't know. It's tough. It kind of like needs, I think, a little more pattern. So let's look at our large ephemera and see which ones we might want to consider. I don't... It's colorful, but I'm not feeling it. Okay, so far I like the cow better. So there's our last option. And for some reason this plaid and this just, that's too much for me. So I'm liking, even though it's got that pattern there again. So it has to be that, or let's look at our small ones. So the other option would be to do something, and it can be off center because this is going to flap down. It doesn't have to be, since it doesn't have to be, maybe I'll do that because it's going to fold down anyway, so it's okay if it hangs off and covers this up a little bit. I kind of like that. I kind of do. What's on the other? Ugh, can't use that. Let's see, should we introduce another pattern? Nope, not that anyway. So the only other pattern, nope. Let's see if a red will work. And then we'll make that decision real quick and then we'll move on down the road. So the red would be this. Or this. I don't think I like either one. So I can go back to my original option, which is this. Yeah, okay, so, okay, that's what I've decided. That's what we're doing. So we're gonna put this down. So what I need, and just so happens I already have ready, is a bifold. So the bifold is going to be 8 1/8 by 6 1/8, and that's just so there's a nice border around the ephemera card. So I'm going to go ahead and use this slightly off center from here and have this be the feature. Yeah, I'm liking that. So I am going to need to put something on the back, but first let's get this in. Okay. The magnet there is kind of making it bulge a little, so I'm going to work that down. Okay, so there we go. So this is, I think we want this to go kind of like so. Yeah. So do I want it? Okay, if I push it a little further over, I'm kind of liking that because you can still then put photos here. So I'm trying to think that through. The other option is to go further this direction and actually have this attached to this flap, and it would open like so, and then allow the waterfall to function. Oh, decisions. Either way, I need to glue it to this bifold, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Or am I? Do I want to put a magnet in it? How am I going to keep it closed? Got to think about that. I don't know how I'm going to keep it closed. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a magnet in it, on it. Oh, my scissors are stuck to my magnets. All right, so I'm going to put a magnet on the top, right here, and then put the card on top of it. And then I'll put a liner in it to cover it up. Here we go. Okay, so I am going to put the ephemera right on top of that magnet. I probably could have done away with some of the magnets on the inside if I had this design feature identified early on, but I didn't, so I'm going to use another set. I still may have needed them anyway. It might have been too thick. Laid my ephemera down on my wet nap. That's not good. I need a place to put it. There we go, right here in the trash can. Okay, so that is done. So now I'm gonna put another something on the inside. I don't know what yet. I don't know if I'm gonna put the flip side of this on the inside or not. I have to think about it. It could just be some coordinating paper or contrasting. Okay. Okay, so that is what's going to keep this closed. So the other thing I was thinking of is, if you bought the bundle from us, you got some of this ribbon, and I think I'm going to lay this ribbon down as a marker so you know to open up this flap. And I think I'm just going to put it right there in the center. So now I'm just going back and forth trying to decide where I want to place this. And I think that's what I like. Sort of toward the bottom. You can still get a photo here, and you can get 3x3s here because this is 4 inches wide. And the alternative is this. This is 5.5 inches wide, so you could get a 4x5 and 3x3. You know what? I like it here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of split the difference. Now I have to decide which flap I want to adhere it to. And I think I'm going to adhere it to the larger of the two flaps. Okay, I'm going to turn this over, and this is how I decide where my glue line is going to stop, and also where I need to have some contrasting paper here on the back. Okay, so before I do the rest of that, I'm going to go ahead and add my little piece of ribbon here, so it's easy to identify how to open the flap. And then I will put, let's see, and then a mat will go on top of this. So that's what it's going to look like, okay? Yeah, I like it. That's fun. That is fun. I didn't get it in straight, but it's pretty good. Let's see if I can straighten it a little bit. Probably not without ruining my tape. So I'm going to go ahead and start over. So get a nice wide piece of tape. And then I think what I'll do is lay one side down and then lay the other one on top. And it was just at a slight angle, and it's not that big of a deal, but I can be fussy about stuff like this, so. There we go. Better, more better. Did I put it on the right side? I guess it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's going to get covered regardless of which side it's on. Okay, so there we go. Now I need a piece of paper to go on the back, and it needs to be, I'm going to say 3 3/4 by 4, 3 3/4 by 4. And I don't know what I'm doing on B side yet, so I don't think I'm ready to put this down. So I'm going to halt right here because I got to figure out the B sides. And then once I know what the B sides are, then I'll be able to figure out what to put on the back of this ephemera card. But this is basically the end of page 1. Or the end of the A side of page 1. Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create. We're working on Farmhouse. And this is page 8. So I started working on this page and I thought it was page 1 because they're laid out the same. And so I tried to make that clear in the beginning of the video, but now we're getting toward the end and wrapping up this page. This is page 8. Page 1 has the same mechanisms, but it's different paper. I will also run banners to try to correct what I had said verbally. I kept calling it page 1, so that was a mistake. It is page 8. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sit down and we're going to finish up. We've got a couple of flaps to cover inside the book. And I'm just looking at my options right now. So that's option 1. And this is option 2. I guess I could use this, but that's really hard to look at all that. It's pretty loud. So I think what I'm going to do is go with the solid in the middle and the patterns on the outside. So right now I'm going to check them for fit and ink the edges. And this one looks ready to go. So let's do it. I'm sorry about all the confusion on page 1 versus page 8, but we're on page 8. Page 8. I often work my books out of sequence. I put them out in sequence, but I work them out of sequence. And I usually do a better job of masking that from you guys, but for some reason this album's got me discombobulated. Between mixing up page 1 and page 8 and then the kerfuffle on page 4 and 5, this album's going to be the death of me. All right, let's see how we did here. It's ready to go too. So I'm just going to test the size up and down. I think I like it a little bit better that way. It's a very slight difference. I'm going to take all these pieces out because it's bulking up the inside, and I want to be able to lay it down flat, so I'm just going to get these extras out of the way so it's not quite so fat. There we go. I think I need to trim this one just a tiny bit. Okay, let's see which way it looks better. That looks good, so I'm going to put it down. Okay, there is the insides. Okay. Oh, it's too tall too. A little too tall. Okay, that should do it. Okay, I'm gonna put my white contrast here so you can actually see the edge of the flap. And I still need to take some off. Wow. A little more. That's got to be it. There we go. Okay. Some ink, some glue, and then we will, I think I've got all the pieces trimmed out for the waterfall. I hope so. If not, we'll get those prepped and ready to go. Next, and we're coming to the end of page 8. Page 8. So I'm curious, and I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments. You can see I'm shaking because I had coffee after 3 p.m. today, something I rarely do anymore. When you are working on your mini albums, do you guys do like one page at a time, or do you kind of set aside and just say, I'm just going to do it for 2 hours? Or what's your work process like? I was trying to remember how I used to do it before I started teaching. I guess I'm teaching. And I used to kind of sit down and basically I would do one layout at a time. And so I might do 2 layouts in a day, but not usually in the same setting. But I'm kind of curious what you guys do as you're working at home. Do you just do 1 page and then come back and do another page the next day? Kind of curious about that. And then also, do you pre-make your base albums so you've got them ready when you want to work on something, or do you make them per project? Which is what I used to do, but now, because I thought, well, why would I have an album sitting around? But now I know I'm always going to need one. So I actually, when I have what I call a creative crisis, I will, I think my cord's in the, it was hanging into the workspace. Whenever I'm having like a creative crisis, I will sit down and make a base album because it's so automatic. It's also therapeutic. Gives my creative side a chance to rest while I'm still doing something constructive. So I was kind of curious what your process was. So, okay, so we have these 4 waterfalls, and I can see I only have 3 pieces of paper cut, so that's a problem. Or is it? Nope, the rest of them are in here. Thank goodness. I just can't get it together. Okay, so this is going to be a feature that we're going to glue on top. And I've mentioned that in the last video. So now I'm trying to decide. I think I want, as the waterfall cascades up, I think I want alternating patterns. So we'd have the cows on one, black on the next. Then cows and chickens, I guess it's everything, farm animals. And then this one would be black. And so we get this sort of alternating cascade, every other one. So black, farm animals, black, farm animals. Am I missing one? No, 2 of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Yeah, 2 of each. And then down here, I'm gonna put the farm animals again. So they're, I'm not sure I'm all in screen. So they're on both ends, and then black across the middle. Okay, so that is the current plan. So let's start with this one down here. And it needs to be trimmed up a little bit. It's a little too big. I'm gonna cover my glue. Get my pencil. Okay, so that should be the right height. And that's a little bit too wide. Okay, that should do it. Yes, it did. Okay. Pay attention to your orientation. So because I don't have a pattern with orientation, I'm going to double check. Because these are orientation, I have to think about page 8 goes in, page 7 goes in like this. Okay, so this is up. The waterfall should be on the left-hand side, which is the outside. This is the spine side, so I'm doing it right. I just want to double check before I lay down my pattern and accidentally put it in upside down, which I don't want to do. Okay, now that I have this in, I think what I'm going to do is turn it upside down and keep that in mind, that we want to make sure that our patterns are going the right way. And as usual, I like to get, you know, the edges, the corner edges near me, so I'm not leaning into the frame. It looks like I did not trim these, so most of these are going to require a little bit of trimming. Okay, that's pretty good. Double check that. Yeah, looks good. So it needs to be going the same direction as this pattern. So I'm just double checking. You guys make sure you're doing the same thing. You don't want upside down animals. Some patterns are a little more forgiving than others. Okay, so I know they're all the same pattern, but I'm going to flip this one over for the next waterfall. So we're going to have black on this side. Okay, that looks good. So I know on my last album I extended each one of these so that I could cover this 1/2 inch flange, but I honestly couldn't do that. I was running out of paper. Because each one of these is 6 inches long, I only got, I could get 2, 4, 6 on a out of a 12 by 12 because they're 4 inches across. I couldn't get that extra ½ inch for each one of these, so I decided to forego that, and they're all going to be black in this album. I probably could have managed it. Well, actually, I think this is the only place where my hinges are showing is in the waterfall. So, but I think because of the colors that I chose for this waterfall, it's very forgiving, the black with the black. Okay, so the next one's going to be the pattern again, which is my farm animal. Okay, and you can see that I'm alternating the pattern. So we've got one more to go, and it's going to be black. Here it is. I don't need that contrast anymore. So, pretty sure. Yep. Okay, there we go. Then our last piece is going to be, I'm going to turn it right side up again. So our last piece is going to lay down right here. And I need to, I think it's the right, I think it's going to go down just as is. So let me ink it and we're going to test it one more time. Yeah, looks good. Oops, that's too high up. I wasn't taking into consideration the hinge. Good night. It's hard to see black on black. Okay, so that is all the main components for page 8. So now the last thing we're going to do is I've got this ephemera card, and I've picked out some. This is the flip side of this. It's going to go down here to hide this magnet, and this is going to be applied to the top to hide that magnet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to apply it to the top page. It's already inked as a design feature. And this is some of the ribbon that you will get if you buy the bundle from us. Now I'm probably going to do the same thing, a similar design feature on page 1 with the ribbon. I haven't decided. It's not done yet. Since I thought I was working on page 1 when I started this. Dummy. I did not dry fit this. It looks right, but it is not inked. Okay, so that is done, and like I said, there's a magnet holding that closed. So we are going to apply this, and I think I want to center it like so. Now I could glue it to either side, but I think I'm going to glue it to this side, so when you open it, then you open these two flaps. Maybe not. Either way, you're going to have to choose which side you open first. I have to think about that. This opens like so, like so. And then you could do your waterfall. So the other way would be you drop your waterfall and then this opens. So it kind of, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I'm not sure. But I do know that I need to cover the back of it. So the question is, am I matching this paper or am I matching this paper? And it may be that it depends on whatever scraps I have left. That might help me make the decision. This will work. So I think that's what I'll do is, yeah, I think I'll attach it to this side, and then when it opens, you'll see it right here. Okay, so this needs to be trimmed down to, let me think about that, this way, trim down. Oh, I did it wrong. It needs to be trimmed this way. It still works. 4, just under 4. Okay, there we go. So that's what we're going to cover the back with before we adhere it to the cover. And if you want, you can just glue 3 of the 4 sides and make it a pocket. I think I'm just going to glue it down. There's enough photo space in this album. I don't think I feel like I need to squeeze in little tuck spots. Okay, so it's going to lay down like this, and just trying to decide, you know, where I want it. This would hold 3x3s, and this we could get a 4x5. So I think I'm just going to do this and try to preserve at least space for one photo here. You could still probably squeeze in a 3x3 here. Mostly, yeah. Okay, so I just know I need glue below the ribbon line. And like I said, I am not trying to make it a pocket. If you want to make it a pocket, just go these 3 sides. Like so, glue it down, and then when you flip it open, you've got a little tuck spot, but I'm going to adhere the whole thing. Partly because because I've made this a bifold and it has a magnet closure, it's gonna want to pull off the page, and I think I just need that extra glue to keep it in place. If that makes sense to you guys. Okay, now I'm gonna real quick get a ruler and just make sure that it's pretty level. And if not, level it. Okay, so that's how it's going to open. And you can get a little 3x3 even on the back here. A little bit of glue sticking out. Okay, and then you pull on the ribbon here to open the flap. And then you can lift the whole card to open it. And then this is our waterfall feature over here. Okay, that's page 8, everyone. That's it for page 8. I'll be back with some more designs soon. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Create.